Hey there, my name is Luciano Orlandino. I'm with Ave Maria Catholic Parish. I'm here today with Deacon Tim. He is going to be a priest in our diocese here soon. We have a few questions for him. Deacon Tim, thank you again so much for being here with me.
My pleasure to be here. Thank you, Luciano.
So, a few questions we have. Where did you grow up?
I grew up in Colorado Springs itself.
Oh, okay, nice. Are you Colorado native?
Yes, I am.
Awesome.
Yeah.
How big is your family?
I have my two parents and then an older brother and a younger brother. I'm right in the middle.
So, oh, okay, nice. Middle child.
Yeah.
What did you do as a kid? Did you have did you play some sports? Did you have some hobbies, stuff like that?
Yeah, I did a lot of soccer as a kid.
Oh, okay.
And t-ball, although I was pretty bad at t-ball. I could strike out in t-ball as a kid. And I ran a lot actually. So,
oh, okay, nice. Did you do cross country, track?
I did, yeah. In high school I did cross country and I also swam all 4 years of high school.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah.
A lot of sports going on. What are some of your first memories of God and faith?
So, my parents would come into each of our rooms before we went to bed and pray with us. And those were really beautiful times. And I just remember that really particularly their prayer for me and just being able to pray before I went to bed with my parents. And that was a big moment. Also, I have a few memories of just being in Mass as well, and some homilies that priests gave that I could remember a little bit of. So.
Oh, okay, yeah. Nice. How did you come to realize your calling for the priesthood?
So when I was in 4th grade, I was about 9 or 10 years old, I saw the priest hold up the Eucharist in Mass, and at that moment I just thought, this is what God is calling me to. And so I started telling all my family and friends that I wanted to be a priest. And then I got into middle school and hormones started to kick in. And I realized that, priests can't get married. And so I was, struggling with that and started pushing the idea back in the back of my head. But the beginning was seeing the Eucharist in Mass.
Oh, okay, nice. And what brought you back to it from that point in middle school?
So then I went to high school and started dating in high school, and I really felt conflicted because in the back of my mind there was this idea you should be a priest, you should be a priest, but I still wanted to do what I wanted to do. So I heard about a novena to Saint Therese of Lisieux, and how she gives roses as a sign to answered prayer. And so I decided that I was going to pray a novena to her, 9 days of prayer, and get a sign from God. And I didn't want to tell anybody, because I didn't want them to show up with flowers or something. But my novena prayer was that if God wanted me to be a priest, Saint Therese would send a ton of red roses to me on the 9th day of this novena. So I was very specific. I told her not one red rose, not a bouquet of red roses, but a ton of red roses. And on the 9th day of the novena, my family goes to a wedding. And I'm just thinking, oh no, there's flowers at weddings. This is bad. I can't get out of the wedding. So we go to the wedding, and in front of the altar, there's a small grouping of white roses. And I'm just like, this is great. I can get married, it's not even on my mind. We go to the reception. I walk into the reception hall. It's a huge reception hall, and there are red roses everywhere, all around the walls, on the tables, and I was just like, oh my goodness, Saint Therese, you are hilarious.
Yeah.
So it just struck me that this was the sign. And then after that, the next day, I was a sophomore in high school, and I was just stubborn, and I was like, oh, it's total coincidence. Who goes to a wedding on the 9th day of a novena? So I continued doing what I wanted to do in high school, but I didn't want to touch that novena again. And then it wasn't until college when I started really thinking about the priesthood again and what my path in life was, and I realized I couldn't ignore the roses forever. So I started asking God to show me how I could best serve Him and love Him. And this was my freshman year in high school, or in college, sorry. And I began to, pray every day more intentionally, started going to Mass every day and frequent confession, just receiving the graces from the sacraments and seeing priests who loved their priesthood and were giving their lives over to the Lord joyfully. And this all helped open my heart to want to do God's will. And as I was praying for the Lord to show me His will, there was one time in prayer where I saw myself as a priest and a father to a community, giving the sacraments, and I realized that I desired that. And then in that moment, I also saw myself as a father to my own children and a loving husband, and I realized I desired that as well. But in that moment, I realized that my desire for the priesthood was deeper, and I knew that I was completely free to choose either vocation, but I knew that my heart would be fully satisfied in giving myself to the Lord in the priesthood and serving Him in that way, and that this is what He was calling me to and how I could best serve Him and love Him. And so after this was my first semester of college, I started going through the process of applying to seminary.
What do you hope the hallmark of your ministry to be?
I really hope that I will be able to help people become saints. I hope that the Lord uses me to bring others closer to Him and be fruitful in my ministry to make many saints for the Lord.
That's great. Well, thank you again so much, Deacon Tim. It's been an honor to be able to interview you today. And thank you again so much for watching this video. Please remember to like, subscribe, and follow us on YouTube and Facebook. Thank you again.